I've ever seen on film. You will see it later. And that's all I can tell you. Be patient. Good looking airplane. 120 flights on it, I'm told. Uses a Tartan twin for power, 17.5 pounds. Byron kit. Terry Nitch, 4th place, 92 static points. Bob Violet Models, F-86 Saberjet Putty Tat, it's called. Terry possibly is the most consistent flyer at the Masters. Does well all the time. You know that Werner will probably catch the tank drop. Fooled me, Werner. I thought you would have had it there for sure. Oh, what'd I tell you? Make me sick. Anyway, Terry has his landings down like unbelievable. Look at that. Keeps the nose gear off for a second. Full flaps. Good flying airplane. Here is an immaculate Cessna bird dog built by Doug Crumley of San Pedro, California. 95 static points. That's the real motor, guys. That's a OS 320 Pegasus 4-cylinder, 4-stroke. The more you look at this airplane, the more you see. This is something like Wayne Seward's Frank of last year. This airplane wound up in 26th place. Certainly the static score didn't keep it out of there. An original design developed from detailed 3-view drawings and measurements of the full-size aircraft. 108 inches, that's 108, weighs 32 pounds. It looks good in the air. Oh, there you go. Now we see why he finished in 26th. This has got to be Paul Curley's. No, it is not. I'm sorry. This is Ray Schleckens. Focke-Wulf, D9, long nose. Errant takeoff. A little squirrely there, Ray. Ray's in from Boise, Idaho. This is a IMP kit. 87.5 static points, finished 53rd. Ray Sawatsky from Canada. 38th place, T-34 Turbo. This is built from a Ramon Torres kit of many years ago. 88.5 static points, 92-inch wingspan, 22 pounds. Super Tiger, 3,000 for power. This is probably the best he's flown this airplane in 4 or 5 years that I've seen it in competition. Here's his overshoot right there. There goes the gear. And here comes his landing. Yeah, without a doubt, that is the finest landing that plane's ever made. Good job. Very good job. Very realistic airplane. It's too bad that Ray doesn't still produce this kit because it is beautiful.
This is Mr. Claude Tanner from Boise, Idaho. And Claude, you just finished static judging. And have you got any kind of an idea of how you did?
Well, I think I was doing pretty good as far as craftsmanship was concerned. That was on the first table. And I think I was doing pretty well with Darlene Fredrickson, who I believe was doing finish color and markings. And at about that time, my aircraft rolled off the table and crashed.
Oh gosh, and it wasn't even flying.
And it wasn't even flying.
Oh,
and that's
terrible.
That's the first damage it's had in 4 years of flying. So I don't know what, I don't think that had any effect. I think the judges are fully capable of overlooking any part of that, and I'll have it back in shape and ready to fly tomorrow.
Okay, so it just was minor damage, and you will be flying.
Yes. Yes,
well,
I've never had one roll off of a table while it was being static judged before.
There's a first for everything, isn't there?
Yes.
Claude, we've seen this beautiful aircraft. When was it? The first time, I think, was at the 87 scale Masters or 86?
87 here in Las Vegas.
Here in Las Vegas, and you turned in some very impressive flights. What's going to happen this weekend?
Well, I don't know. The competition is so much stiffer 5 years or 4 years later. It's hard to say. The flying and the equipment and the aircraft, the level of competition has just escalated to a point that just blows me away.
Claude, this is a stall aircraft, and generally that requires a little bit of horsepower. What have you got?
Well, it's the Super Tiger 3000. and it swings an 20 by 8 prop. And it's fully capable of a stole takeoff, which from a standing position, you go full power, full flaps, release it, haul back on the stick, and it pops almost levitates.
How long a ground roll?
I would say no more than 10 feet, if that. And if you follow the standard procedure of a full-scale airplane, they recommend at 50 feet that you push the nose forward.
So you go straight up or just about straight up,
Yeah,
and then you...
Yeah, it looks like it almost levitates. It's impressive, but it does not impress judges. It doesn't seem to have finesse, so I don't use the stole takeoff anymore.
So we'll not be seeing that this weekend?
Not see that this weekend because I've tried it and it just doesn't work. It doesn't score well.
Well, Claude, we're happy to see you down here and wish you best of luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I guess you could say that Claude likes his airplane. In case you didn't catch it, 22 pounds, 92 inches, Super Tiger 3000 two-stroke. This airplane's been around since August 1987. And I'm sure it'll be around for quite a few years more. Good-looking airplane. It's a Morley M6 Super Rocket. There's our fresh squeezed lemonade concession stand and our burgers and fries and corn dog stand and several others that were at the meet. And here, speaking of a corn dog, is Dick Hansen's Albatross, the prototype of the Proctor kit. 20th place, 91.5 static points. A little bit less than Dick usually gets. I don't know why. I would have thought this was better than 4 points more than a top flight P-47, but somehow the judges didn't think so. Dick is from Portland, Oregon. He flies his airplane very, very well. It has a great sound. Uses an Enya VT-240. It's a twin, V-twin. Rock solid airplane. A joy to watch. And for the guys that don't like World War I airplanes, this one is fun to watch. Of course, Dick Hansen is probably one of the finest World War I type pilots around. He and Bob Hanft pretty much fly this stuff exclusively. Look at that landing. Huh, talk about nailing it. Is it real?
The gentleman standing next to me is Mr. Brian O'Meara from Mile High, Denver, Colorado. And this is a Zero that he flies. Brian, we've seen this Zero fly in a lot of competitions over the last 5 years. Just exactly how many has it flown in?
Oh, it's been in over a dozen contests, major contests. It's been in a couple of the Top Gun contests in Florida and in Phoenix, and 2 or 3 of the Scale Masters contests. It's done real well for me.
You've told me that this is a Dave Platt kit?
Yes, it's a Dave Platt kit modified. His basic kit is an A6M5, and this is a A6M3-22, which means that the wing has been stretched a little bit from the original kit, and the cowl is a little bit different from his original kit. But other than that, it's a stock Platt kit and flies phenomenally. Matter of fact, with over 77 flights, it's never broken a prop.
That's pretty impressive. Is this the one that you made that beautiful landing with at Scale Masters last year? It is, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And a wheels up landing, one of my had an air leak, and the gear did not come down.
You mentioned that you had to lengthen the wing from the original kit, and is that something fairly easy to do, or is it pretty involved with a built-up model?
Well, being built up, it does take a little bit more work than a foam wing. The ailerons are different, completely different from the standard kit, and the shape of the outer wing panel and the wingtip was different, and we needed to add several additional ribs to it, but other than that, it was fairly easy.
So the spar and everything the major components stayed the same?
Exactly, exactly.
That's a very unusual paint scheme for a Japanese aircraft with the stripes. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. The Navy airplanes of Japan usually were a solid colored airplane This particular one was the squadron leader of the famous Tiger Squadron that was based in Saipan in 1942 and 1943, and that's why you see the white stripes are on the wing and the chevron on the fuselage and the yellow stripe around the tail, indicating that he was a squadron leader.
Well, that's very distinctive in the air. Let's talk about the gear and the engine, Brian. What kind of an engine has it got? And from seeing it fly, obviously the power is more than adequate.
More than adequate. It's a Super Tiger 2500 made in Italy. The landing gear was made by Gene Barton in Southern California.
And you find that a fairly sturdy gear?
Exactly. Yes, the gear is held up extremely well. Again, over 77 flights at this point, never had a gear failure except for one time when a airline blew off.
We've seen it do some pretty extensive maneuvers. Is that because of the aircraft or the pilot?
Well, I guess both, because originally the aircraft was designed by Japan to be a highly maneuverable airplane, and my background was somewhat in pattern about 10 years ago, so I guess a highly maneuverable airplane, and the way I like to fly, I do fly somewhat complicated maneuvers, I guess.
Seems to be a good marriage, Brian.
Yeah.
Brian O'Meara from Mile High, Denver, best of luck to you this weekend.
Thanks.
Here's Brian's Zero coming in for a dead stick landing. It later went on to tear up the turf because of an elevator stuck in a down position. Bruce Thorpe, Montezuma, Iowa, SIG country. This is the prototype of the SIG kit of the Hazel SIG's Spacewalker. 104 inches, 1,800 square inches of wing area, 22 pounds. Super Tiger, 3,000 for power. It finished in 19th place, 88 static points.